I want to really conclude on that. Our democracy is in deep difficulty. We all know that, and we all have various approaches to how we're going to solve it. Well, the only way I know how to solve it is to go to the people. And what's the only avenue? Because if this legislation that I've written, the National Initiative for Democracy, were in place, we could do this in 30 days at the federal level. But we don't have the people operating at the federal level. We have it operating in 24 states, Massachusetts being one of them. In every one of these 24 states, it's bad law. One example is we have to collect over 68,000 signatures in Massachusetts, and we got 2 months to do it, and it'll cost over $250,000. That's not democracy, not the kind of democracy that I know of and aspire to. So what happened at 9/11? That's the $64 question. What happened? Well, we think we know. But then the people who investigated it themselves have admitted we were set up to fail. Several of the commissioners said, this is a national scandal. This is wrong. This is a fraud. Now, if the commissioners who were part of the process don't believe in what they did, why should the American people continue to believe what the government has said? And then you have NIST. I won't go into the technical. I don't consider myself a scientist at all. But we've had in the last 10 years scientists all over the world examining the events of 9/11. And they question the scientific basis of what the government's been telling the American people. How can we change that? Because mainstream media is locked in with corporate media. Corporate media is locked in on Wall Street and the military-industrial complex, and they have culturated our society into a militaristic society since the Second World War. What can we do at this point? Well, I'd like to think that we could get people to vote for the National Initiative. And let me go back to that a moment. People will say, well, how could you go around the government and get this enacted into law? Well, let me read to you. We, the people of the United States, and I'll paraphrase, do ordain. What does that mean? That means that we are the creators of the government. We, the people, do ordain. God ordains. The people ordain. Well, if we ordain our government, then does it make any sense that we have to get permission from our government to change the government, as our forebears wanted to do so we could improve our happiness? Of course not. We have the basic right, and the major scholars in the United States who have looked at what we're doing with the 9/11, with the National Initiative, all agree. Harvard, Yale, Auburn, Georgetown, Berkeley, all agree that the people have the right to change, by a legislative process, change the government. Otherwise, you're stuck with having to have a violent revolution. And does that make any sense at all? Not at all. But let me go back to what we hope to accomplish with 9/11. By bringing about the people deciding, not the government, by initiative in Massachusetts, they will vote to create a new investigative commission, and it will be a citizens commission, not a government commission. And that's where the rubber hits the road, because they will not have an investment in the existing storyline that exists. Now, mind you, analyze the importance of what happened. It generated three wars, and the worst one, the war on terror, which is going to go on into infinity, because that's as long as we're going to have terror in our human society. And what does that do? That provides the rational underpinning for the continued appropriation of money for the military-industrial complex and the homeland security industrial complex. That's what that does. What else happened? We have spent over $1 trillion of our treasure when we have people unemployed, when we have cancer not dealt with, when we have all these other problems. Here, and this group of people have brought us into cowering in fear over a terrorist. you have 1,000 times more opportunity to die from cancer, which we don't begin to even spend the serious money on it, dying from cancer, than you would getting hurt by a terrorist. And so that's the state we're in. Is there a chance to break through here? Well, I think so. Because if we can get Massachusetts to enact this initiative, and then we take the same initiative and we go to Colorado, we go to California, we go to Oregon, we go to South Dakota, we go to Alaska, we enact it, and it's the same initiative, similar. And we have in the initiative a joint powers agreement so that they coalesce together. And now the key is, who is going to appoint these new commissioners? Well, it will be the steering committee made up of people from Massachusetts, California, other parts of the nation, who will then invite nominations from the American people as to who should be qualified to serve on this commission. And then we'll vet that, and the selection will be made, and then they will then begin their investigation. And keep in mind, they'll have the power to subpoena, and they'll have the power to put people under oath. Let me tell you how important that is, and how ridiculous the last commission was. When they asked, they didn't subpoena, when they asked George Bush to come and testify, well, he brought Dick Cheney, and they sat next to each other. And the commission, now the commissioners, could not take notes. It was not recorded, and they were not sworn. Does that not lead to some suspicion? All that to say, we need a new commission, and who will bring it about? It's not going to be the government. It's not going to be mainstream media. It is going to be the people, and it will be a citizens commission. Now, what will be the impact? I was just on radio this morning, and one person was saying, well, Senator, if you do this, it's going to create anarchy in the nation, because if they find out that some of our political leaders were involved in criminality that killed 3,000 Americans, and not 3,000, 6,000 people in wars, and 1 million people in Iraq, and God knows what's going on in Afghanistan. So, what will happen? The country will fall apart. And I said, my God, you have no faith in the people, and you have no faith in democracy. The country won't fall apart. What we need is, if truth is the danger to democracy, then we have the ultimate oxymoron. The ultimate oxymoron. There is no way to have democracy until the people have the truth and assert their sovereignty based upon that truth. And what we hope is, by an investigation of 9/11, it will be so destabilizing as the real facts come out that you will see the American people rise up and begin to question authority and begin to assert their own sovereignty as human beings. The task for all of us is very difficult. It's we human beings we imperfect human beings attempting to govern ourselves. But if we can't do it, it cannot be done. We just need the vehicle to do it, and the Massachusetts initiative on 9/11, which is going to be issue number I, in November 6, 2012. And also, as a result of that, people becoming aware, my God, if I can bring about a commission that was a de facto federal commission at the state level, maybe I'm qualified to really make policy decisions in this country. And we are qualified. We're more qualified than our leaders. We just don't know it. Thank you very much.